I'm going to be doing 2 videos this week. This will be the first. Um, I apologize for missing last week. I've been on a new work schedule and I've sort of been running out of time for everything that I need to do. So I'm going to try to get caught up and I apologize again. So week 47 was about the media talking about how trans people have been portrayed, whether we agree with the portrayals or not, that type of thing. So I'm going to fly through a couple of the portrayals that I've seen, starting with the first, which was like the Maury Show, the Jerry Springer Show, the Sally, all those types of shows have had transgendered individuals on them. Whether they have kids that are dressing, or girls that dress like boys that they're trying to get to dress like girls. Um, those were the first shows I saw, and those actually really terrified me because my friends would threaten to call up those shows. And I think that that's, I mean, I do think that, you know, I just don't think that it's appropriate for you to tell somebody else how to dress. If somebody wants help with dressing or they want to experiment with a new style, it's all well and good. I just really didn't like the attitude and the way they covered those. I also didn't like the guess, is it man or woman? Those whole situations. I really didn't think those were fair. Because I think as transgendered individuals, we spend a whole lot of our time trying to pass or just trying to be seen for the person that we are truly. Not just male or female, not a freak or whatever. And I think shows like that are sort of detrimental in the sense that even if somebody you think is a woman, it's revealed on the show that they're actually a man, and that can be damaging. Obviously, those people agreed to be on the show, so that has different issues. But I wanted to start with those. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Boys Don't Cry, which I thought the portrayal was pretty good in that movie. The documentary is a little hard to take just because of all the she's and that type of stuff. The only thing I don't like is that there tends to be this whole negativity in the media surrounding trans people, that we are victims of abuse, that we are victims of hate crimes, and I don't like that idea. I don't like that concept. I don't think that we should be victims of hate crimes. I do acknowledge that it happens, and there's no reason that we shouldn't acknowledge that it happens or has happened, and that we should hide that. However, I do think that it becomes problematic because that's sort of the picture people get. The concept that if you're going to transition or if you're a transgendered individual, you're going to be picked on and potentially in threat of your life for every moment of your life from the moment you transition on or begin to. And I don't like that notion, which I feel like the media tends to run with. I also thought, let's see what else I've got. L Word Max. Actually, I have very little to say on this channel about Max. If you're interested, I have a video about it, talking about all my issues with Max and the L Word. I think that I can stick it pretty much by saying I appreciate the fact that the GBLT or the GBL community wanted to show a trans person. I appreciate the fact that the lesbians who made the L Word wanted to showcase a transgendered person's transition, and they wanted to include that. I do. However, I feel like Max, the character, is not normal, whatever that means, a typical trans man. A, he got pregnant. B, he wanted to have chest surgery. He didn't want to have chest surgery. He took hormones for like half an episode and all of a sudden had a full beard. I just found it very over dramatized and very unrealistic. And what I really want for us is to have a more realistic view to the outside world. Transgeneration was a pretty good one. I didn't agree with all those situations. I didn't really relate to many of those characters, but I do appreciate the fact that that was on Sundance, and it gave you 4 different viewpoints, 4 different trans people, and I think that that is how YouTube is so handy, is to give you different glimpses of people's lives and recognizing that there is not one experience that is necessarily true for every single one of us. Um, so let's see. So I think in general, trans people aren't necessarily accurately portrayed, whether that is because of the sensationalism attached to it or because of its ignorance. I'm not really sure why it is, but I do think that they tend to sensationalize transgender people. Um, and so instead of, um, picking uh, a normal, heterosexual, uh, trans person or I don't know, we see like Thomas Beatty in the media, and we see Max, and we see trans guys getting pregnant. And not to say that that doesn't happen, but I guess my point is that how often does it happen in the transgender community or the trans man community? If it's 10% of the trans man population, not to say that's not a percentage, but that shouldn't be held up as the example of what a transgender person is for the rest of the world. Because there is ignorance and because people don't understand. And what they understand is what they see a lot of times in the media. And I think when we sensationalize things, we tend to put a spotlight on it and we tend to look at it as this weird or this foreign object, and we forget that we're all human. And I guess that's sort of what I would like shown in the media, that regardless of my transition, regardless of anybody else's transition or how they live their life, we are all human beings and we all have feelings, and deep down we're all human. We feel a lot of the same things. Our experiences may be different, but we are all connected and we are all very, very similar. No matter how many differences we have, we are still very, very similar to one another. And I think that's left out. Um, as far as how to improve the medias, I don't necessarily know a way. I think that YouTube is a great step. I think this collaborative channel is a great step. It's showing people how real trans people live. And obviously, only a limited number of people have access to this. I think that the best we could do media wise is just to try to get a whole bunch of different guys, different perspectives, different lives, different things out there. So instead of seeing a stereotype or instead of seeing a generalization, people sort of see us for the unique characters that we are and recognize that, yes, I also, or I'm sorry, not to interrupt myself, but I also really want transitions to be legitimately addressed in the media, because I feel like the money that is needed, or the medical care, or the psychological care, is often left out on the sidelines. For example, Max in the L Word pretty much transitioned, didn't see anything about him seeing a therapist, didn't see anything about his doctor signing off. He was getting illegal hormones, which I don't think is necessarily something we want to advocate on national TV. Um, just a lot of different things, and surgery wise, I think it's really important to show the steps that we go through and all the hurdles that we go through as part of our transition, and make it so that people understand that it's not just one decision when you're really drunk one night, just like that tattoo that you got that you wish you could get removed. It's not some random decision, that this is a really thought out process, and that there are a lot of huge hurdles, medical, monetary, legal hurdles that we have to go through. And I really would like to see that respected and recognized. So that's what I have on media, and I'll make my other video in a second. Alright, guys. Peace. Peace.